Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the One Fear Per Year podcast with a very, very, very special guest. Pasha Marlowe and I met a few years ago on Zoom. I don't think we've actually ever met in person, have we, Pasha?
Oh, yeah, we did at a at a networking event in
I'm
California.
Yes, we did, because I have the most amazing picture of just, when you've talked to somebody a lot online and then you see them and you're like, "Ah, this is you in person." So yes, we have met in person,
Yeah.
but I am so overjoyed that Tasha said yes to be here today because she was super instrumental in me walking through fear, through this one fear per year journey that I'm trying to get everybody on board to do with me. And that it was the stand-up comedy bit of my fear. And so, Pasha, thank you so much for being here today. And talk a little bit about that stand-up comedy program that you put together for us, because it was amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me. It was, uh, it was called Roar, and it was a therapeutic comedy program, so it wasn't just learning how to be a stand-up comedian, but learning how to process our traumas and our stories through the lens of comedy. So I'm more a therapist than I am a comedian, and I actually don't do stand-up anymore because I'm realizing that the stress and overwhelm of memorizing a script just took the fun out of it. After a while, my menopausal brain was like, "No, you don't need to do that anymore." But I loved what it taught me and those that were in the program is that no matter how really hard and painful life gets, and for almost everybody in the program, they had been through a lot of trauma or went through trauma during the program, and to watch how, frankly, life-saving it was to be able to access an ounce of humor or joy or pleasure despite the pain was the lesson in it to me.
It was so beautiful, Pasha. I can't even tell you how transformative that was. I mean, yes, for everybody that joined that group, because what you do, and we will get into fear, but I just want to hit on this because it was so transformational for me to actually choose a pain point in my life, maybe something not crazy traumatic, but just there in the middle that causes you that discomfort and that pain, and to write a joke about it or a story that found
Yeah.
humor in it, it just reframed
Yeah.
things in my brain.
Yeah, I think it takes our power back. You know, we feel consumed sometimes with fear or shame or grief or rage. And when we create the stories and the jokes around it, and then we tell them through our lens, other people that might have had a hold on us or control or power or abuse, then rather we're stepping into that power. So yeah, I learned so much in watching people like you step into that power. It was transformative for me as much as for anyone in the ROAR program.
How did you come up with that idea? What has been your kind of path?
Well, like anything I've done, and I've shifted my I feel like the common thread is always caring and healing, but it's looked different. Like sometimes it looks like therapeutic comedy, sometimes it looks like yoga and mindfulness, sometimes it looks like therapy. Right now it looks like therapy, but also professional speaking. So it looks different. It takes a different form, but all of it is is based in wanting to heal myself and others. And so the therapeutic comedy piece came from my deepest, darkest fear and grief moments of worrying about losing my son to a terrible illness. And in the hospitals, we were consumed by grief, and I couldn't imagine losing him. I couldn't imagine surviving losing him, and so I needed to go into the depths of other people's grief stories, and I ended up reading Viktor Frankl's A Man's Search for Meaning about the Holocaust, surviving the Holocaust, and there was, like, this one line, like, the entire book is amazing, like, just incredible, but there's one line that said that they survived because they were able to laugh together in community, and I'm like, "What?" Like, I just it was just like it hit me at the perfect moment, at the perfect time, and I was like, I haven't laughed in years. Like, it's very hard for me to laugh. Even when I go to a stand-up comedy show, I'm not the one who's laughing out loud. I'm a very, like, internal, intense person, and so I was like, "I suck at laughing." I just, like I'm really bad at laughing. I'm really bad at lightness, and I'm really bad at levity and humor. I'm like, I haven't that's scary. Like, and it felt vulnerable. And so much like you stepping into fear, I was like, maybe this is something that's kind of paradoxical, but exactly what I need. And it ended up really saving us, honestly.
I love that. I love that the things that we are struggling with or dealing with or the fears that we have, when we step into them, I mean, you're highlighting this point perfectly, is the ripple effect of that is so amazing just by mere virtue of us working through our shit, like
Mhm,
working
mhm,
through our fears and our
mhm,
personal development and all of that. And look what a beautiful gift you gave me and countless other women
mhm.
who joined us on those calls and eventually, doing the routine and knowing that
Yeah.
there was such a supportive audience, and it was just a highlight when I talk about 1 fear per year and they ask me, "Well, what are some of the things that you've done?" When I say the stand-up comedy part, everybody's like, "What?" But so I just
Yeah.
thank you
You're
for
welcome.
yeah, for walking through your own fears,
Mhm,
for really dealing with your own grief,
mhm,
and you do it in a public, vulnerable way,
mhm.
which I love and I so respect and admire. So if someone's listening right now
Yeah.
and they're, let's say, trapped in what I like to call the prison of fear, because
Mhm.
for me, it did feel like a prison. I felt very trapped. I felt powerless. What what advice would you give? What's kind of the next best step for somebody that truly deep down wants to break free, but just doesn't even know like where to go?
I feel like at the root of a lot of fear that I hear people talk about is the fear of not belonging or being rejected, right? And so I'm thinking about the root of all that. And one of the reasons why I feel like I am more fearless now is because I'm recognizing that I'm not going to any longer try to fit in and belong in places or with groups because because sometimes I don't. Like, literally, sometimes I don't belong. Even if I want to belong, even if I do all the work, even if they say you belong, sometimes I literally just don't belong. So, what I determined that it has to be this deep inner spiritual journey of belonging to myself. So that as I walk through the world, no matter where I go, no matter how invisible people make me feel, or how rejecting of my identity they are, or how dehumanizing they are, whatever, I still belong to myself. So that has helped me feel more fearless, no longer trying to fit in or belong to anyone or with anyone any longer.
Ah, can I just pause there because belonging to ourselves and when we make that the priority, then and let me know if you found this to be true as well, we start to attract and become part of the groups where we are accepted and celebrated and there's this sense of belonging, but that the work first starts here with like I'm totally good with me and my process and where I'm at in life and what's going on, and then we kind of start attracting those people. Is it like that in your life?
Well, not to be like a Debbie Downer, but I actually still don't feel like I've found those people. Just like, I still haven't found the groups or the communities or the people in relationship, personal relationship or professional relationships. So I don't know what that is, whether it's and frankly, right now with what's going on in our country, like I feel it even more a sense of like, oh, okay, I can't even belong to my country anymore with all the um, you know, I'll just say mindset, and attitudes around what we're hearing about who should belong, who shouldn't belong. And so I really feel like I have to be even more relentless about, even if I never do. attract or find a community or a person, um, that's okay. Like, it's hard, and it means being alone, but not lonely necessarily, and it means being, really aligned with my values because I'm purposely, like, stepping away from a lot of privilege, for example, to make the decisions that I'm making to stay aligned with my values right now and to stay aligned with my identity right now, given all that's going on. And so I'm mindfully stepping away from people and towards myself more.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How do you, first of all, figure out what your values are
Mhm.
and then stay deeply aligned to them? How do you personally do that?
Um I know that sometimes the exercises, like, people show us, like, 100 words, and we're supposed to, like, circle the ones we're aligned with, and, like, that doesn't resonate with me. To me, it's when I'm, you know, taking a walk in nature or by myself, or I'm finding myself crying like I did on the bathroom floor last night, doing one of those dark nights of the soul where I'm just like, "What really matters? What really is painful to me?" And it's what makes me mad. I know that is aligned with my values. What makes me sad, is aligned with my values, like, the things that create a lot of emotion in me. Um, and for example, when I look at, what's happening around the world with, like, what I call, like, a humanity crisis, like, that makes me sad, it makes me mad, it makes me, really fired up, and I'm like, "Well, what is that?" That's so I know my one of my values is humanity, and so I keep stepping into what I'm really responding to emotionally.
Mm.
That makes sense?
Yeah. No, absolutely. And it highlights kind of what's there, like this, the deeper kind of inside of you, what triggers those emotions. I mean, those are like little lights, like flash, like, pay attention to me, what's going on here? What do I need to be focused on in this moment? And yeah, kind of flowing toward that. Now, as far as fear goes currently for you, what are some of the fears, or are there fears that you struggle with? And then, based on your past experience of walking through fear and kind of walking toward those uncomfortable things, it sounds like, what is your plan for how you're feeling right now?
Yeah, I still fear losing people that I love, people and animals I love. My dog ran away the other day, and I was terrified. Just like I was like, "Okay, I know I really love my dog because this is terrifying." Like, there's just a lot of clarity sometimes. I fear what's happening to our country, our world. So there's some real fears I have. I fear dying alone. Like, I want to be with somebody, and I want to see the sky, like, while I'm dying. Like, there's some fears that I really hold on to. Um, and yet, being now almost 55, being postmenopausal, being kind of invisible to a lot of the world in terms of our social worth and from financial to physical to just being like unable to make babies and unable to be society's idea of what is beautiful and worthy as a woman, for example. Like, all that's kinda been in my past. So now I'm just like, "Okay, like, who am I without all of that?" And there's this kinda cool, fierce reckoning that happens, I think, in midlife, but specifically after m menopause for people that go through menopause, I think of just like, "Okay, like, everything's shifted in my body, hormonally, physically, spatially, just everything, and it just, like, gets you back to your essence of who you are, and then there's less fear because then, when you go out in nature and nature makes sense, and, like, trees make sense, and birds make sense, the sky makes sense, and the sun keeps rising even when the world is shitty, like, there's, like, all this stuff that makes sense in nature, and for some reason, I'm able to tap into that more as I get older, like, I feel more I've never said this out loud, like, I feel more part of the earth. I just feel more part of, like, the nature of things. Like, I don't know. I don't know if that's coming closer to the end of my life in a way, or if it's just the transitioning from what I was for 30 years, which was a wife and a mother, and it's shifting, so it's interesting how it feels.
Yes, it's like that surrender, the kind of letting go. That it's interesting you bring that up because I've just recently been really thinking about the phases that we go through in life and how I can feel even in myself like this resistance to the next stage and the things that are coming. My parents getting older, me getting older, the menopause, the hormonal changes, all of that. And then I just sit and I remind myself, that these are phases and that I'm entering into a new phase. And
Mhm.
how do I show up in a more surrendered, like flow state, like nature?
Mhm.
How trees, the leaves, and there's this whole similarity with that. So
Yeah.
I think that's brilliant when you're feeling that way to go out in nature and, like, literally, I mean, hug a tree,
Yeah.
like, lay on the ground, get grounded, be a part of that because we are a part of that and going through those transitions. Um, for you, if someone were to ask you, which that someone's me,
Like, hypothetically now.
like, hypothetically in this moment right now, if you were to choose the very opposite word of fear. Like somebody said, "Okay, here's fear. What's the opposite word? One word. What would that be for you?"
Worth. Worthiness is coming to mind.
Ooh, I like that.
I have no idea yet why. I haven't, like, started to unpack it, but I'm just gonna say that's what my intuition is. Like, something about a deep sense of worthiness and not fearing what other people are gonna think or say, or if you are ever successful or worthy to other people. Like, worthiness, I don't know, I think about, like, what causes people to feel so fearful, and then I'm just breaking that down quickly in my head, that a deep sense of self-worthiness could be
Well,
opposite.
I think that's amazing that you came up with that because I truly, and just my opinion, but people I've talked to and just from what I've seen, the majority of people have, or at some point in their life, have had this fear of not being good enough. And that's like one of those deeply rooted where a lot of things stem from that. So I think what you just said points to that, which
Mhm.
is pretty amazing. And I think it's crazy how fast these interviews go by. So I have one last question for you, even though I could talk to you for hours.
Yeah.
What in this next year, since this is the one fear per year, is there something in this next year that you want to walk through that you can kind of tell fear is holding you back? Or if you don't have anything that you've thought of for the next year, is there something in the recent past that you have decided, like this intentional choice? I can tell I want to stay in my comfort zone. I can tell, like, I don't want to do this thing, but I'm stepping out and I'm doing it anyway.
Yes, this year, terrifyingly, but I will. I've never traveled solo abroad, and I not only bought a ticket to plan to go to, I'm traveling to the Netherlands in April, and then while I'm there, I'm taking a quick flight over to Denmark. And then in both places, I booked like a book talk that I'll give so that I have to go. So that I don't change my mind, because I would, and then I would just potentially, like, not talk to anybody the entire time I was there and just be scared, and so I'm making myself go and show up big time, like, selling tickets and everything, and so, uh, I it's hard, it almost feels surreal that that's gonna happen at the end of April, but that's the plan, and then I'm kind of hoping that that awakens, a lack of fear around traveling solo abroad. Like, that's what I'm pushing through right now. I'm terrified of flying, I'm terrified of getting lost, terrified of, getting hurt, you know, I don't know. There's a lot to be scared of that I know for a lot of people just feels like adventure, and I want to break through that, so I'm at the other side of, like, feeling like this is freedom, this is adventure, this is living, but I have to break through it a lot.
And it's just that those mental shifts every time you and this is what I do every time I stand up to speak publicly, is I have to literally tell myself, "You are not terrified. The shaking in your body is just you mobilizing your resources to give your best damn speech."
That's
And
good.
that's what we have to do every time is just, "Wait a minute, this is adventure. This is fun. This is stuff that, like, I am going to look back on and be so damn proud of myself for stepping through and doing that." So, bra freaking vo to you.
Thank you, thank you. I'm actually, you know what's interesting? One of my fears now is loving it a lot. Loving it so much I don't wanna come back. Like, loving travel and not wanting to come back as I'm now when I'm starting to like, that's a good fear, right?
Oh, that's so good. See, our minds can spin us all
Oh, yeah.
sorts of ways. And so going back to that nature, the beauty
Mm,
of who you truly are.
mhm,
And you, Pasha, and everyone listening are just amazing souls and beautiful individuals who are focused on personal growth, focused on walking through fear, and for the people that feel fear the most and still do the damn thing, those are the people that I just gravitate toward and go, "Yes, please, I wanna hang out with you. I want that courage." And you've got that, Pasha. So thank you so much for joining me today.
thank you, Janice, and thank you for embodying all of your courage and vulnerability and open-heartedness. You've always inspired me that way. Thank you.
Aw, love you.
Love you too. Bye, everyone.